The city of Georgetown is proposing a rate increase on
Coming up on Mountain News at 5:30, could a new law allow nearly 1 million people to sue the U.S. government for toxic water at Camp Lejeune? And the nation's immigration laws reached the U.S. Supreme Court today. A look at the arguments presented.
Plus, watching stormy skies to our south and west, and they're heading in our direction when the showers start. Coming up as Mountain News at 5:30 starts now.
Dedicated to southern and eastern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News at 5:30.
Good evening, I'm Steve Hensley. We have an update on a CBS News investigation into toxic water at a Marine Corps base in North Carolina we've been following for more than a decade. A new law may allow as many as 1 million people, mostly Marines and their families, to sue the government over contaminated water at Camp Lejeune. The law is a major change for veterans and others who say they suffered illnesses as a result of their service at the base. Senior investigative correspondent Catherine Herridge is at the Pentagon.
How old are you in this picture?
I was 19.
Bruno Teixeira was already a Marine.
Did you spend a lot of time working with the water at Camp Lejeune?
Every day.
Teixeira worked in the mess hall at the coastal North Carolina base for 3 months in 1986.
You were exposed to potentially toxic steam. How many hours every day?
2 or 3 hours every meal, maybe?
Maybe 8, 9 hours every day.
Yes, every day.
The U.S. government acknowledges that from 1953 to 1987, nearly 1 million veterans and civilians were potentially exposed to dangerous chemicals in the Camp Lejeune water. In some areas, levels were 400 times what safety standards allow.
Nobody told us anything about chemicals. But we did notice that the water did have a strange taste and smell. You guys want kettle corn?
The father of 2 says he's not a smoker or a drinker. After a severe stroke in 2015, his doctor blamed the toxic water.
Did you feel a sense of betrayal?
Yes. We were serving as Marines. We were taking care of others. But we expected our own people to take care of us.
The Department of Veterans Affairs internal watchdog found a third of recent disability claims for Camp Lejeune veterans were mishandled or wrongly denied. The VA turned down Teixeira's disability claim, saying it did not find he had maximum exposure.
They hired an expert, so-called expert, that reviewed my medical files, never spoke to me, never examined me.
Why did you get involved in Bruno's case?
This one really breaks your heart.
Senator Cory Booker from Teixeira's home state, New Jersey, says veterans deserve more.
In many ways, they've been poisoned as a result of their service, and yet they were denied.
This is what we call baby heaven.
A CBS News investigation revealed stillbirths, rare childhood cancers, and other illnesses among Camp Lejeune veterans.
Did the CBS investigations have impact?
God, yes. You expanded people's empathy and helped to add fuel to the demand that Congress do something about these injustices.
In August, the Camp Lejeune Justice Act was folded into new legislation that expands VA coverage for toxic exposure illnesses and opens the courthouse doors for Camp Lejeune families.
Why are you suing the government?
For damages, I mean, what they caused. We were innocent. We didn't know anything about this.
So what do you say to critics who say this is a money grab?
Well, let them be exposed to toxic water for about 3 months and then let them get back to me. That's honorable discharge.
Like many veterans interviewed for the CBS investigation, Teixeira had no hesitation about his service.
I love being in the Marines. I would do it all over again, cutting out Camp Lejeune. I wouldn't set foot in that base.
The Camp Lejeune water claims are shaping up to be one of the largest mass litigations in U.S. history. The Navy told us 14,000 claims have already been filed. Citing the ongoing litigation, the Navy is not commenting on the size of potential awards. Catherine here at CBS News, the Pentagon.
A look throughout the region so far today shows we started out with a little bit of sunshine, but have since seen the clouds move in earnest, and we got plenty of those as we head through really the next couple of days or so. Here's a look outside. Plenty of overcast and temperatures on the mild side. We're about 10 degrees warmer, almost 10 degrees warmer than we should be for this time of year out there right now. And that's as the sun continues to set. So, yeah, mild air and cloudy skies continue. Low to mid 60s, already into the upper 50s in areas where we have seen a couple of showers try to sneak in. Places like Wayne County, Pulaski County, McCreary County, now into Whitley, Knox, Laurel, and even Clay County seeing a few showers right now. Trying to sneak into Leslie and Harlan counties as well. We'll be watching that. Not a whole lot associated with these. You see the bulk of the rain to our south. For us, level 1 marginal risk for severe weather as we head into the overnight, but a huge moderate risk of severe weather. That's level 4 out of 5 for our friends down in Mississippi, as it appears a tornado outbreak is potentially underway. Multiple supercells from Jackson back to Shreveport this evening. Keep them kind of in your thoughts as we head through tonight. For us, showers and storms move in. No severe weather expected, but mild, mid-50s out there for tonight. Details on when those showers and storms move out and move back in a few minutes. Steve?
All right, Evan, thank you. A potential railroad strike set for early December could have a Grinch-like impact on the holiday season. CBS's Skylar Henry is in Washington, D.C. with actions the White House and lawmakers are taking to possibly prevent that from happening.
President Biden hosted congressional leaders at the White House Tuesday, calling on them to move quickly to block railroad unions from going on strike.
Congress, I think, has to act to prevent it. It's not an easy call, but I think we have to do it. The economy's at risk.
The White House helped negotiate a new contract between rail companies and workers, but 4 of the 12 unions rejected the deal, setting up a potential strike on December 9th. Congress can stop it by passing legislation to force them to work.
I don't like going against the ability of unions to strike, but weighing the equities, we must avoid a strike.
House Speaker Nancy Pelosi says there will be a bill on the House floor Wednesday morning. It appears Republicans will reluctantly support the measure.
I think it will pass, but it's unfortunate that this is how we're running our economy today. And if you're passing a bill to force the rail workers to work, how strong is your economy?
Industry leaders say a rail strike would strain supply chains, leading to shortages of some goods and fan inflation, costing Americans money.
Shutting down our rail system, even for one day, would have significant impact on U.S. gasoline supply and could lead to higher prices for American consumers and businesses ahead of the holiday season.
Nearly 30% of all U.S. goods are shipped on railways. Skylar Henry, CBS News, Capitol Hill.
U.S. Chamber of Commerce records reveal Congress has intervened 18 times in railway labor negotiations, each time in order to prevent a strike. The Senate is expected to vote today on final passage of a bipartisan bill that protects same-sex and interracial marriage. If the bill passes, it would then go to the House of Representatives for approval before President Biden could sign it into law. The bill means that if the U.S. Supreme Court would ever decide to overturn the 2015 decision that legalized same-sex marriage, an individual state would be able to ban gay unions, but it would have to recognize it in general. The fight over how to enforce the nation's immigration laws reached the U.S. Supreme Court today. Justices heard arguments over a blocked Biden administration policy that would prioritize deportations of people in the country illegally based on who poses the greatest public safety risk. Republican-led states had successfully obtained an order to limit that discretion. CBS's Christian Benavidez reports from Miami.
The immigration debate made it to the High Court Tuesday at issue whether the Biden administration can set priorities for immigration enforcement and whether states can legally challenge them.
The states lack standing. They argue states can challenge any federal policy that imposes even $1 of indirect harms on their own taxing or spending. That theory has no limiting principle.
A 2021 Homeland Security Department directive paused deportations unless individuals committed acts of terrorism or other threats to public safety. Texas and Louisiana sued the federal government and won a nationwide district order from a Trump-appointed judge to limit immigration officers' discretion over deportations. Tuesday, the states argued they are well within their rights.
As this court has recognized before, the states bear many of the consequences of federal immigration decisions. Those consequences fit comfortably in this court's traditional Article III standing framework.
Justice Elena Kagan warned of a possible legal trend unfolding.
Immigration policy is supposed to be the zenith of federal power, and it's supposed to be the zenith of executive power. And instead, we're creating a system where a combination of states and courts can bring immigration policy to a dead halt.
The immigration issue has long been a matter of resources. There are roughly 11 million people in the U.S. illegally, and DHS has about 6,000 interior enforcement officers.
Administrations since 1976, both Republican and Democratic administrations, have said that this is a long-standing tradition, that given the limited resources, you must give discretion to law enforcement to decide how it is going to expend that.
Chief Justice Roberts and Associate Justice Brett Kavanaugh acknowledged the key argument from the government that Congress has not provided the necessary funding to try to remove every non-citizen. Cristian Benavides, CBS News, Miami.
Coming up on Mountain News at 5:30, if you're putting off that trip to the doctor because of the cost, you're not alone. A look at healthcare expenses and ways for you to budget for the bills.
But first, watching more showers and storms to our south and west and heading in our direction. The details coming up.
WYMT News app offers alerts on break.